There we go. I think we're rolling. Boom. Okay. All right. I'm here. I think we're live. Let me just double check. Are we live?
There we go.
Yep, we are. Okay. All right. I've done it right this time. I've set everything up. I think. I've told everybody. There was plenty of time, and so this time I did the live stream right. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of people in here. Maybe I'm doing this too early because a lot of people who checked in last week were in the UK. Maybe it's what time is it in the UK over there? It's like what 6, 7, 8 hours ahead. So it's nighttime. I think it's nighttime there. So oh, there's JEC. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, hi, hi. So give a minute or two, let some people drift in here, and take care of business. Which there's not much business, other than I went to Lucille's Luncheonette yesterday, and that was very nice. It was featured on Anthony Bourdain's. Oh, Arden's here. Hello. I got your message, Arden. Was there something weird going on with when I set this live stream up or something, or were you just goofing around? So I went to Lucille's Luncheonette, and Anthony Bourdain had been there for no reservations, and so it was in the show, and they had an Anthony Bourdain breakfast special, which I had, which was scrapple, home fries, an egg, or a couple of eggs, I think 2 or 3, your way, and then toast with butter. And it was delicious. And they were very nice. They gave me free breakfast because they started very early at 9 a.m. and went the whole time they were open until 2, because it's kind of a breakfasty lunch place. And they've got a big statue of the Jersey Devil there. You can see it on the little YouTube short I did. And it was a good day. It was sunny, a little hot. So I will be back because it's sort of a thing for writers who write books about the Pine Barrens to go to Lucille's and do a signing. And I'll tell you, sold some books, so wasn't a bad day. And they actually said it wasn't as busy as normal. And I was like, really? I definitely got to come back. So maybe it was because it was too hot or something. I don't know. What else is going on? Let's see. The channel's doing well. I'm at 2,670 subscribers. Although YouTube is so weird because I check my stats every day, as I imagine some of you do if you have a channel, because you're trying to figure this dumb thing out. And sometimes you get some. I'm getting to the point where I gain followers every day, which is nice because it's steadily going up. So that happened, and then one day I just dropped by 6, which is weird to me. It's like I've been gaining, and then suddenly like 6 people just drop off, all on the same day. Like what? And then you think, what the hell did I say that offended so many people? I don't even know. Arden says, good on ya. I hit 90 this morning and 91 just as my stream started. Oh, nice. And it's like, I can't figure out the YouTube thing. That's why I encourage everybody to go to Rumble, Bitchute, Odysee. Odysee is pretty good, I gotta say. At first I was a little confused by it, but it seems the thing I like about Odysee is once things are loaded up, you don't have to process too much. Arden says, my Getter account does that from time to time. I suspect it's probably bots accounts being purged. Yeah, I guess. It's like, how many bots? Like, I don't get bots. That's another thing I don't get. Like, what do they do? Do they work? Does somebody say, okay, we're gonna set loose the bots so we can make money? Okay, and they do that. How does that make money? How does annoying people on the internet make money? Because I think I'd be good at it. And I get bots all the time, and I just don't understand. Like, there are often beautiful Chinese females on Twitter who go, "Hi," and I go, "Hi, you're not a real person, are you?" "I am totally person real." Like, they can't talk properly. So, what does somebody like see that and go, "Ooh, I have to send you money"? I guess it's like the Nigerian scam, the Nigerian prince thing. There were enough. They do it like a million times to get one person to send them $100, and they call that a victory because they can send so many out. They're just waiting for the dumbest person in the world to stumble upon them and go, "Oh, I'll send my money." All right. Anyhow, bots. Let's get into what I wanted to talk about today. And I'll start right up front with it. Won't take long to talk about it, and then we'll get into the trades. So there's this idea with creatives. Oh, wait. Arden says something. LOL, most of my GetterBot accounts are beautiful Chinese females as well, on Twitter at least, because there's so much political influence from the platform, having a lot of bots to promote a ideology, I guess you're going to say. Oh, he continues. A particular point of view or political stance means more eyes that see a message post, what have you, and increases the likelihood of influencing the zeitgeist. I guess. Seems like an infinitesimal amount to me, but I'm not a normal person. Like, I'm that guy. I'm like the guy, like 50 people in the room go, "Yeah, it sounds like a great idea." And I go, "I don't know about this." Or the opposite, like, "Oh, this is," 50 people in the room go, this is dangerous and stupid." I go, "Well, let's give it a chance." So maybe it's just me. But anyhow, so creative people, right? And it doesn't matter what you're really doing, whether you're doing videos or books or comics, games, TV show, movies, whatever. There's this idea amongst creatives that the big guys are going to come to you and shower you with riches. They're just going to shower you with riches. And you're going to be like the famous people you see doing this stuff, which inspired you to get involved in the first place, right? And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I wanted to make movies and be in movies and do stuff like that because I saw people doing it. And I said, "Oh, I want that life. That sounds amazing. You can be on TV and you can have all this. It looks like so much fun," right? So that's what sort of starts you on your path sometimes. And while you're doing it, you just figure, well, this is really hard, but you just got to keep going until one of these magical men from the studio or whatever just shows up on your doorstep one day and says, "You know what? We've been watching you for a long time, and here's a giant pile of money." And Arden, you're the one in 50 because you're not one of the sheep, LOL. Yeah, I guess. So there's this idea that creative people are going to be showered with riches. And this is particularly evident if you've ever been in the comic book world. Because I did comics for many years. I still do. And you just see these guys, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a good plan at all. They start publishing a comic. They barely have enough money to get it going. They do and say whatever they need to get that first issue, and then everything just falls apart because they can't make enough sales. If it had exploded and they sold 100,000 copies, then yes, maybe they would have kept it going, but they have this ridiculous plan of, oh, we'll just do this issue and then things will just fall into place. and they almost never do. And consequently, what you get are two kinds of people. You get the people who are unrealistic in economics, and then you get, at least in comics, you get these sharks who realize very quickly there's no money in it unless you take all the money. Unless you work it so everybody is essentially working for free, and then you just take all the money, which I've seen happen. And it's awful. It's awful to watch. With artists, it's particularly easy to do because they're wired the wrong way in terms of business. 99% of them. Some of them are good at it. A very tiny percentage, or at least they understand, okay, I have to have a studio, I have to be getting work on the reg, and, you know, making money on a regular basis. Some of them figure it out. But a lot of them just don't. They got their head in the clouds. They go to a comic book show. They sit there and they draw, and they barely talk to anybody. They're not selling. They're not selling at all. You know, with writers, it's a little easier because we kind of have to do all our work alone. So then when we go out in public, you can't work. You can't write in the middle. Oh my God, I can't imagine what it would be like to try to write a story while I'm sitting in the middle of a convention with all that noise and distraction. I you know, distracted enough by myself with the dog. Right, distraction? Right? I want you to say hi to everybody. You know, I can't imagine what it must be like. I mean, they just tune people out in their drawing. And this is the same for filmmakers too. You know, they're just, and part of it's great that they are focused on getting the movie done. And there's a certain thing like you get the movie done, you have a product, and then you could sell it. But these guys sign such terrible deals. You cannot imagine the stories I've heard of artists just signing away everything, you know, just to get a little taste of fame. They just don't understand their value. And some of them, you know, when they cut that deal for like half the budget of the movie or whatever, or just enough to break even, sometimes that deal is about all they'll ever get, and maybe that's a good thing they take that deal. But, you know, for the really talented guys, they just don't, they're not business guys. That's why they became artists. And the people around them, a lot of times, are just scum. They're just scum. They think they don't need the talent. You know, once they start making a little bit of money, and business guys, that's all they do, is they start making money, and they say, "Oh, these idiots, these dopey artists," and they take advantage of them. So it's a dangerous way of thinking for an artist. So artists, I would say, starting out, you have to think in terms of the money a little bit. Not all of it. You don't want to chase the money with your creativity, but you have to think in terms of, you know, what's going to work. And again, I've been guilty of it too, but at least I wanted to make money. Like, I tried to design things to make money. Didn't always work out, but and I also was very upfront about the money with people I work with. I always tell people, we're not going to make any money. Or we're going to make very little money unless a miracle happens. And most of the people I work with have been totally cool about that, because they're like me and they kind of understand, yeah, this is all big struggle, and you work and work and work on things until you stumble into, you know, a real gig, if you're a freelancer. And you know, it's not something that just magically happens. The people who, 9 times out of 10, the people who work very hard for many years eventually break through. And Hollywood will often portray them as, wow, this guy came out of nowhere. He worked in obscurity at a post office in the middle of nowhere for the last 40 years, and now he's the biggest thing since sliced bread. And it's not really true. The reality is that guy probably worked for 40 years to get where he was creatively, and finally got up on point. I feel like I'm getting to that point with a lot of my stuff, with my books. You know, the books are going really well, and I'm feeling like I'm selling more and more. Seems to be that way. Seems to be going that way, and I just gotta keep that up. And it's a fairly realistic business model for me at this point. If I could get to the point where I'm selling 3 or 4 thousand books at a go when I have a new book, yeah, I should be okay. I'm not at that number yet, but I'm heading in that direction. So, anyhow, so for new creatives, gotta have a bit of a business plan. You gotta look at real hard numbers. You know, I used to calculate the money I made at cons, and I would just calculate the gross because it was too depressing to subtract my expenses. But now I always subtract my expenses. And since I started doing that, the first thing I did was I stopped eating at conventions. I stopped eating, like, I used to spend a ridiculous amount of money on food when I would go out. Like, I would look at it as, oh, I'm going to go do a convention. I'm going out to eat. And then I'd blow like $50 on a meal or something, and it would blow what little money I made. So now I don't do that at all. Now I pack a lunch whenever possible, or like, I wanted to eat at Lucille's, so that was a bit of an exception. And then it was a pleasant surprise when I got a free meal. And then I bought a t-shirt. They had a Jersey Devil t-shirt, which I'll be debuting tomorrow. I'm washing it now. So, yeah, you got to think about the money a little bit. And when Hollywood, if you're lucky enough, does come knocking, don't accept the first deal. You really have to think on it and understand your worth. And you have to work on your own IPs. You know, you have to own it. You have to be like J.K. Rowling. You have to own it. J.K. had a good deal, I think. You can't really ask for much better than the deal she got. I mean, that she was approving things. I mean, she's getting screwed now, kind of. But now, I mean, Harry Potter's run its course. She's made hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. Okay, now she's screwed. But she had a great deal. So that's the deal you want to shoot for and get. And I think that's a fair deal. She created the characters. Why shouldn't she be deeply involved in everything that, you know, every presentation of the characters, movies, amusement parks, whatever? Arden says, if I were a creative, and I kind of am, well, you make videos, sure. And Hollywood came knocking, they would probably go away pissed off because I would refuse to do anything that removed creative control from my hands. Yeah, I mean, there is a compromise to be made if you want that money. The question is how much, you know? So, you know, for you, I think Hollywood, the other aspect is Hollywood's really going away. The idea of $1 million entity just, you know, flying around the country discovering talent. I mean, I don't know if it's ever been true, but it's definitely not going to be true now. The kind of talent Hollywood cultivates is like the kind of talent you see on American Idol or something, like one of those shows, right? I think they're totally astroturfed. And again, they're not people who come out of nowhere from some small town. They probably moved to LA and have been auditioning for months, and they kind of know what's going on, and then they present themselves that way because they know that's what the producers want. And then the producers go, aha, you get the idea. You got a presentation here. Okay. So Arden Tamilwood, on the other hand, that's true. You're talking about the the Indian part, the various woods in India. Yes, yeah. See, they're still in early stage Hollywood. I mean, back in the '70s, it was still kind of that way, you know. Not, I mean, this is crazy to say, right? There was a time in this country when not everybody wanted to be in the movies. Yeah, I know, it's weird, right? Like back in the '70s, you were still kind of a weirdo if you wanted to be in movies and TV. Like, that was just like another job. Almost. It was a cool job, but people were like, TV? Okay. Hollywood. Oh, all right. I guess you're going to be famous. Ha ha ha. It was kind of a joke because it was so rare. Arden, I've honestly considered sending a screenplay to the anime studios. In India, I don't know, man. I mean, I know that the ones in Japan, they're really. I've heard that they're very hardcore and they would only look at Japanese artists. I don't know if India is the same way. Um, Maybe there's a U.S. based one, but I think they're all gone woke. But maybe there's a based America based anime studio that's doing something cool. Um, but yeah, I don't know about anime. Anime to me is so niche. It's becoming big again, simply because we've destroyed the comics here. Japan, yeah, probably wouldn't look at mine. Yeah, I'm almost sure they're pretty xenophobic in the world of anime in Japan, but there might be a U.S. based one, or you could do it as a comic, you know, build it up that way, something online. Um, I mean, there are ways, there are always ways, but anime is such a Japanese thing. It's like, again, it all comes back to that weird image, right? You know, instead of, oh, this is a farm girl from Tennessee who sings, it's like, oh, this is an anime show. It's from Japan. Like it has to be from Japan. Ardent, based, America based. To the tune of another one bites the dust, yes. All right. Speaking of America based, let's see what fresh hell is happening in the trades. So they're talking about this movie, The Invitation, which the trailer looked good ish. Ardent agreed. Anime is much a Japanese thing, as is their right. I would prefer naturally born talent to a foreign one. I mean, what's good is good, you know. I think Cowboy Bebop had a lot of American sensibility to it. So The Invitation is this movie where a woman is invited. She finds out she's related to English nobility, but I think it's all a ruse to get her to come to this party where they're all vampires, and I'm not sure if they're going to kill her or turn her into a vampire. I guess they're going to turn her into a vampire. It looked all right. I mean, and looking at the numbers, this is they're not very good. I mean, this is the weekend now. I guess this doesn't really count Sunday, but 7 million. Oofa. 7 million, and that is it. That is it. I mean, it's got to cost more than 7 million, right? Got to. So, I mean, Sunday will add to that, but how much more are you going to get? Maybe another 2 million? Yeah, it's weak. I don't even know if that's going to make its budget back. You got to figure that's I would say it has to be. I mean, it doesn't look particularly expensive, but I would say it'd have to be 20, 30 million, right? So I think it might break even, and it's not even getting international distribution yet. Bullet Train's at number 2. Now this movie must have cost a king's ransom to make. 159 internationally. Just on the salaries alone. Plus, there was a pretty decent promotion of it. So I don't know, man. 159 million, and it's basically done. I mean, you know, at 5.6 million for the weekend, feels pretty done to me. You know, I don't know. Let's see if we can get the. I'd like to know the budgets on these things, but they never tell you anymore. It's nearly impossible to find out. You can do a search, but I don't know how accurate that is. Then this is surprising too. Beast, not doing well with Idris Elba. It looked okay. Looked all right. Um, but 36 million internationally, that doesn't sound good. I mean, that maybe kind of sort of just broke even on the budget. But you got to, I mean, they didn't do, I don't think they did a tremendous amount of advertising with it, but, and then, of course, Top Gun is still at 4. Holy F. I mean, how does it get back to 4? Hasn't cracked 700 million yet in the U.S., but it looks like it's well on its way. Give it another. I mean, if it hangs out in theaters, I mean, it's almost in 3,000 theaters still. You know, another 2 weekends like this. Yeah, that'll be 700 million. I think maybe that's why they're keeping it in there. Plus, like, nothing's doing good. And Dragon Ball Super dropped to 5, which doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised it did as well as it did. But this, you know, well, 56 million worldwide. I don't think they did a tremendous amount of promotion for this. But 56 million probably that's not, I mean, with anime or animation, whatever you want to call it, that's usually more than that for a full-length movie. But, you know, they'll show this to death, you know. They'll show Dragon Ball Superhero to death, and they'll make that money back. It might take them 10 years, but they'll make it back. But it's just, yeah, it's a pretty anemic box office when you look at it. Let's look at the full weekend here. DC League of Super Pets, meh. Wow, 3,000 Years of Longing debuted at number 7. 2.8 million. Ooh, Idris Elba's getting hammered. Getting absolutely hammered. This movie, yeah, it didn't feel like a full-length movie to me. Minions at 8. Thor Love and Thunder at 9. Where the Crawdads Sing at 10. That did about as well as I'd expect it to do. 100 million. That's not bad for that movie. I think that was a pretty, you know, reasonable budget. Nope did 148. I don't know why they didn't release this internationally, like right out the gate. It's weird what they did. For a long time, they had no international box office, and then finally, I think it hurt the movie. Elvis fans, did all right, I guess. 273 million. I don't know. It seemed like a pretty big movie. I mean, Tom Hanks is in it. Seemed like they had a lot of CGI on him doing Colonel Parker. Seemed like a big movie. That felt like a $200 million deal, or at least $100 million. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. They re-showed that in theaters, I guess. JEC, everyone is always on about how much they love Idris Elba. I've never seen it. He's just not leading material. Watch Luther. I think he's great in Luther. And he's good in The Wire. But, I mean, he's like a lot of actors. He's good when he gets good material, good scripts. But, you know, like Beast. Beast had a decent premise. You know, basic sort of survival premise. He goes out into the savannah with his 2 daughters, and some lion attacks them. They like, I don't know, wreck the car or something. They get trapped out there, and then he's fighting the lion to survive. But the buzz is that the 2 girls playing the daughters are very unlikable. JC, everything Baz Luhrmann does is cancer. Yeah, I'm not super impressed. It's like, you know, it's all sound and fury signifying nothing, right? It's like, okay, you got great, loved Elba in Ghost Rider. He was in Ghost Rider? I don't even remember that, but I didn't see Ghost Rider, so that's probably why. Yeah, like Baz it just seems like, well, there's a lot of cool effects here. It looks like 1950s, early 60s, and 70s. So what? Like, we've seen that before. And then finally, Bodies, 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 which I really expected to do better than this. But I'm sure it cost nothing to make. But 9 million, oof. Yeah. I'm surprised. Because I thought this would appeal to the Gen Zs. It looked like their kind of movie, but... So... maybe just no one's going to the movies. Idris was in the second one. Now I think I do remember that. Was he the bad guy in that? Anyhow, that's the state of the box office. Bleh. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, here's J.K. Rowling explains skipping Harry Potter 20th anniversary special. I didn't want to do it. F you, Harry Potter cast. F you. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to do it either. With the way they're going after her. And I bet she couldn't speak her mind, so not that it would turn into a big political debate for the 20th year of Harry Potter, but I think it's a disgrace that they made the anniversary special without her. It's an absolute disgrace. They shouldn't have called it the Harry Potter 20th anniversary special. They should have called it like the Harry Potter cast 20th anniversary special or something like that. She should have been there. That you people couldn't make accommodations because you're so ridiculously suffering from Trump derangement syndrome is ridiculous. At MTV's Video Music Awards, that's still a thing, huh? Advertisers work to strike right chord. JC, great answer. I didn't want to, right? Right? Man, the VMAs, like, what the hell is it for now? Do they even show music videos on MTV? Where do they show music videos? I've seen them on YouTube. That's about it. YouTube and Reddit, the internet. We really ought to call it. They really ought to move this to the internet. Arden, drunk angel. They never did a great job of explaining him. He could have been Judas, the Wandering Jew, maybe Cain, even. I forget the character's name. One of those many IPs at Marvel from Midnight Suns that I think are pretty forgettable. U.S. theaters will sell $3 tickets for National Cinema Day event set for September 3rd. Well, that's a good idea. I've been saying this for a while. Arden, yeah, funny how snubbing the creative gets a response when you invite them later. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, movie theaters need to cut their prices. That's how you get people back in the theaters. Like, if you want me to go see Beast in the theaters, and I kind of wanted to see it, but I don't want to pay $14, $12, $14 in New Jersey, depending on the theater. I'm not paying that kind of money to see Beast. Now, if you're talking about a matinee, I guess that's it's about 7 or 8. That's what a movie ticket was not very long ago. Bleach Demon is here. Hi all, strike the right chord by playing off of key politics to empty seats. Sounds like MTV. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, like if you slash the ticket prices to $5, here's what the ticket prices should be, in my view. Right now, nothing more than 10 for a regular showing, and $5 for a matinee. That to me seems fair at the current situation of movie theaters, which still really, really sucks. Now, if you want to redesign it, and I'm not talking about the stupid seats, that was a slight improvement, but I don't think it did much. Oh, now the seats are comfortable? Let me go see a terrible movie. No, what they needed is better food, number one, or sanely priced food. I mean, me being a fat guy, I like food, but I can't. I've reached the point where I cannot eat theater food anymore. The only place I'll eat the food is like the art house movie theater at the Ritz in Philly, because they have like Toblerones and you know the designer sodas and all that kind of crap. Bleach Demon, I can still get into both local drive-in with a carload for $12. Oh, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Wow, you still have drive-ins. Our last drive-in was the ACO movie theater around here, and then they turned it into, for some reason, they tore down part of the parking lot and built a 16-screen mega theater. And so they built this thing. I'm sorry to get off on this tangent, but I have to tell this story. So they built this thing, and it's massive. They even allow one cooler as long as you don't bring alcohol. That is a great deal. That's a good place. Bleach Demon, are you in the UK? JEC, overcharging for popcorn is like 90% of theater profits. Yeah, but you got to find another way, I say. I think there's got to be a way to do it, or to bring some other value. I think the popcorn should be free. I know, I know what you're saying. I mean, I totally agree with you, but popcorn is nothing. And there are businesses that give it away. There are restaurants that give it away. There are used car dealerships that give it away. There are people I know, they have a popcorn machine in their basement along with arcade games, and they just have all the popcorn you want. It's popcorn. Oh, you're in Virginia. Oh, okay. Bleach Demon in VA. Cool that you still have drive-thrus or drive-ins. Yeah, so we had this one in ACO. So they built the movie theater where you would park some of the cars, and they still had the screens from the drive-in. I guess they had torn down the projection booth. Arden, never been to drive-in, sadly. It's kind of cool. It's a great night out, I think. So they could have kept the drive-in experience if they had wanted to. They could have, created a situation where they could project on the screen, which stayed there for years while they were trying to make the leap to inside theater. But they did nothing with it, and the screen deteriorated, and I think it fell over. So then they're pushing the 16-screen theater, and it went to hell because they built it at the intersection of 295 and Route 30. Like, it's right next to it, which sounds like a good idea because they're two busy roads, except it was impossible to make the left-hand turn on a busy night on Route 30, and you couldn't get off or not 295, it was 73. You couldn't get off of 73 that easily without, taking an exit, because it was kind of a bigger road in that area. So it wasn't two intersections of two busy roads where you could easily make a left. It was like two busy roads that were like highways. So in order to facilitate the traffic flow in and around this theater, and I swear to you this is true, they made a 5-minute film explaining how to get in and out of the parking lot. And I swear to you, if you saw this film, you'd still be confused about how to get in and out of the parking lot, because it required you to drive. To get into the place, you had to drive all the way around the theater. Like, you had to make the entire loop. And then you could get into the parking lot. Yeah, this is how it was designed. And then when you left, you could get, if you went to Route 30, you had to go through part of the parking lot, and you could get right back onto 30, which is what I used because I lived more closer to 30. But to get on 73, you had to take this ridiculous trail, not trail, but road, all the way to the back of the parking lot, and then turn out and then get on Route 73 somewhere else. And they would put the map up on the screen, and you'd be watching this going, this is too confusing. Why would you build it like this? But I guess the state of New Jersey made them because they were too close to two major highways. And it was so confusing, they felt they needed to explain it. But they did not have to build it this way. They could have built it in a more sane way. I think I could have designed a better parking lot, and I'm not an architect or anything. So that theater failed as well eventually. It's now closed. So we had a drive-through or drive-in, then we had the inside theater, and then both are dead, and now they've knocked down the theater, and there's nothing. They would have been better off keeping the drive-in. Or at least keeping it alive for when the inside theater failed. You could have transitioned back to the drive-in, which everybody digs now, like everybody's back into. Would have been a huge success during the pandemic, right? I bet it was open during the pandemic in VA, right? You're outside or you're in your car with your family with the windows open and a nice weather. But yeah, I mean, the movie experience sucks. It just sucks. You go in there, the food's expensive, you're sitting through commercials, which is annoying. These big chains now show actual commercials. It's one thing to show previews. It's one thing to say, let's all go to the lobby. It's another to show me an actual commercial I've seen on TV. That's infuriating. I don't need to see that. You should be showing slides when I walk in with light jazz, so I'm nice and relaxed. Then you show maybe one, I'll grant you one commercial. And it's usually almost always for Coke. And, then let's see the previews. Don't jack me up with a lot of commercials. I'm already paying to be there. If you're going to jack me up with that many commercials, where's that money going? Isn't that money going to the theaters? If that money's going to the theaters, you should be, help me out somewhere else. Lowering the price. So $5 and $10, that should be the price under their current regime. And really, to get people back, I would do a moratorium where I'd cut it way back for a while. Magic Poop is here. Hail chat, Tony, turning in late. Welcome. So, U.S. theaters selling $3 tickets for National Cinema Day event. Yeah, I bet 1 million people go. I bet it'll be crazy. Because who wouldn't see? I mean, as lame as some of these movies are, I'd go see The Invitation for $3. I'd totally see Bullet Train for $3. I kind of wanted to see that. Beast I would see for $3. I would definitely see Top Gun again for $3. Dragon Ball, I don't know. League of Pets, DC League of Pets, yes. 3,000 Years of Longing, no. I don't think I want to see that movie. So yeah, lower the tickets, subsidize it. Hollywood should subsidize it. They got billions of dollars. Instead of pissing away their money on ridiculous promotions that don't work, how about subsidizing your damn movie? How about instead of raising the price on the Batman by $1 because you knew people would pay it. I didn't pay it, by the way. Waited for HBO Max. Subsidize the tickets to the theaters. Cut your prices. Get people back into the habit of going to the movies every weekend. And then you'll make more money in the long run. You can always raise it later, but people would like it. And if one movie company did that, right? Let's say Sony takes the initiative and says, you know what? We're gonna cut our prices and hopefully get more people and make more money in the long run. Now their attendance starts going up for their movies, just their movies. That would look good. What else is going on? This is Bleach Demon. I wish movie theaters had the character of the older ones. Balcony seats were fantastic. They were. When I was in college, there was, I think it's still there, there was the State Theater in downtown Ithaca. And that was a classic theater. Like, old-timey theater. It was so huge. that I believe they sectioned the balcony off as its own theater. If you can imagine that. I don't know how they did that. But yeah, it was very classic. Um, yeah, that's about it. I mean, nothing really dropping at Variety. Let's move to Hollywood Reporter. Same old story. But $16 to sit in a super generic, bland, everywhere theaters? Nope, says Bleach Demon. Yeah, exactly. $16. I mean, in New York, it's probably close to 20. That's what they're really going to hit. They're going to top out at 20 because that's an even denomination. I mean, I have people at conventions. I charge $8 for my book. They just throw me a 10 because people they don't want to deal with change, right? Or if I sell them $18 or $19 worth of books, they'll just give me a 20. So, I mean, it's nice. It's nice for me, I guess, but, I'm poor. I take my dollar back. Sydney Sweeney says birthday party photo has been turned into a political statement. Who is Sydney Sweeney? Euphoria and White Lotus star. Oh, that's why I don't know who she is. 2 shows I do not watch. There was backlash over a photo she shared from the Saturday party featuring an unidentified man wearing a shirt featuring a flag with a thin blue line. Who cares? Oh, God. Oh, no. Someone supports the police. Oh, my God. They must be a Trump supporter. Everybody run for the hills. Arden, the last time I went to the movies was 10-ish years ago to see Iron Man 3. Underrated, I think, but I love Shane Black. Between the tickets and the snacks, it hit over $40 Canadian, I think. Just insane. Yeah, I can't. I just smuggle in my snacks now, if I even bother to go. But can you imagine these Hollywood types? They see somebody wearing a thin blue line shirt and they lose their S. Or in a picture at a birthday party, like she has control of all the party guests. She had, and this isn't even a famous person wore the shirt. It's like, oh my God, Sydney, he's practically a Nazi. Oh, I shouldn't say that word on YouTube because they're so another group of wimpy pansies who can't take words. Ugh. Oh, here's someone. Ergo Cinema. There are German cinemas where you can still watch a movie for $5. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Hi, Ergo. Welcome to the chat. I'm sorry you're in Germany right now. Things sound pretty rough over there, from what I've been reading. Winter is coming. I don't know if $5 is gonna slice it for an unheated movie theater, but we'll see. I hope things go well this winter for you in Germany. And here was a big story this week: Resident Evil being canceled after 1 season on Netflix. I mean, that's not surprising at all, right? I'm pretty sure everybody on the internet saw this coming. It just debuted and people absolutely savaged it. Absolutely savaged it. And it's a shame because the lead actor, everybody likes him. He's a good actor. Arden, pretty sure you can get a beer in German theater sale. Yeah? Says Arden. Yeah, I think so. I think they're in vending machines. My friend was stationed there. Ergo says, I live in Munich. Winter is indeed coming, but we'll see. Well, good luck. Good luck. Yeah, my friend was stationed there back in the day. He said he would get beer out of a vending machine, which I don't know. I'm not against as a libertarian. I think it would shake up the beer though, but then I guess it shakes up soda, so it's kind of the same thing. But now they have those other vending machines where it doesn't tumble out. So, Ergo, yes, you can get beer. Happy face. Well, you'll have your beer to keep you warm this winter, Ergo. Resident Evil canceled. So, yeah, it just the Resident Evil, like the Mila Josevic, whatever her name is, like those movies were okay, I guess. Ardent German beer, good German vending machine beer? Question mark. I'm sure it's good. I mean, it's in a bottle, so it's a little different, but it's not on draft. Um, yeah, like the Mila movies were okay, I guess. I always thought they were stupid, but in terms of the stunts and the effects, I'd watch some of the fight scenes. That's about all I could get into in the Resident Evil movies. But this, it's like every TV show for TV people. Almost every TV show like this turns into the same thing, a damn soap opera. It's like, why can't you have a TV show anymore? And it's been so long since we had this. And I'm not talking about a sitcom. Sitcoms always go back to status quo, but like a serious show, quote unquote, or a show with like, not comedy, where the episode ends and the story ends, and then next week it's something else. You know what I mean? Arden, oh, the Red Sonja casting has been changed. They're apparently going for an actual redhead after all. Sorry, Hannah John Kamen. Loved her in Killjoys. Yes, I saw that, and I think I mentioned it the other day. The new casting looks good. Ergo, it's all good, haha. Can we talk about SheHulk? Want to know what you think. Oh, God, we're going to open this can of worms. Okay, let me just briefly recap. SheHulk is terrible, I think. I didn't see it. I saw the clips of the first one. Now, I've heard that the second episode is infinitely better because it's not bogged down in a bunch of introductory stuff and just kind of goes. But that's kind of like, I don't know, crippling a skateboarder and breaking both his kneecaps and then giving him a day, letting him start a skateboard event, with crippling knees, and then the next week he does it again, but he's slightly recovered from his injuries, and so it's not completely tragic. Like, I don't know, that was a terrible metaphor, but SheHulk, in my view, it's just the women on that show airing out all their complaints. That's all it is. It's just, and it's a shame because the woman who wrote the Pickle Rick episode is, I guess she's the producer or the head writer. Ergo Cinema, we were just starting to like you and you go ahead and bring up SheHulk. JC, Tim Roth shows up in the second episode. People say he was the best part. Well, Tim Roth's a good actor. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Great movie if you haven't seen it. Him and Gary Oldman are so funny. But, yeah, I mean, first off, there's just so many things wrong with the SheHulk. Okay, let me count the ways. So first off, they F up the origin, of course, because they're trying to do the Bechdel test, right? The Bechdel test is, it's got to be a show or a story in which the woman never talks about a relationship with a man, is not dependent upon a man, and all the things for the women come out positively. So what you end up is this TV show with ridiculous characterization of men. It's a man-hating show, essentially, is what it is. So it's all women all the time, as if women read comics. And I've said 1,000 times, women don't read comics. Women don't read comics. Women don't read comics. As a rule, 90% of them don't. They don't like comics. It's superheroes. It's guys punching guys. And so you're going to, we're going to do a women punching women. And women will watch it. Why? Why would they watch it? It's just, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. And these women had to ruin comics, right? They had to ruin something men like. They couldn't ruin something else. Or they couldn't do their own thing. There's like 1 million characters in the Marvel Universe. They could have done a Mary Jane show. right? Based on the Mary Jane comic they did. Just about Mary Jane and her various relationships or whatever. Oh, no, we can't do that. They could have done, there's like a million female characters they could have done. JC, people say Rick and Morty jumped the shark with Pickle Rick. They swapped out half the writers from the first season with women, ruined the dynamic they had in the first season. Oh, wow. Let me think about that for a minute. I mean, there definitely seems to be a slide with Rick and Morty that I can't quite put my finger on. For me, with Rick and Morty, it started with the episode where they acknowledge the storyline they were building and then ruin it, and then they eventually go back to it. I forget exactly what the episode was because I don't have cable anymore, so it's kind of hard for me to see the Rick and Morty episodes, but once in a while I'm at somebody's house and I'll watch one. But that sounds fairly accurate, what you're saying. The dynamic has changed. I'm not sure if it's ruined it, but it's definitely damaged it in some way. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it is just the show tries to do too much. Unlike 90% of the shows on TV, Rick and Morty is almost grasping too far to be too clever. And why I love that ambition. I love it. I guess I'll say this. I think with women, they're thinking in a different direction. And maybe that's why. Because if you look at SheHulk and you look at Pickle Rick was, I think, pretty funny. But you look at SheHulk, and it's not even in the realm of funny. Every clip I've seen has just been this lecturing, whining, Tatiana Maslany just going on and on. I control my anger better than you. What? What the hell does that have to do with anything? I saw the Critical Drinker go through basically the whole episode. And you got this scene where a group of guys, first off, it just goes from one thing to the next with no real sense. So the first thing they screw up is in the initial comic book, Bruce Banner has to give his cousin a transfusion to save her life. I think she gets shot. And so he gives her a transfusion to save her, and that's why she becomes She-Hulk. Arden, I wish they would revisit Jaguar. He was okay, I guess. So he gives her the transfusion, and that's why she becomes She-Hulk. But because of the Bechdel test, you can't have the man save the woman. So instead, they did this ridiculous thing where he's bleeding, and she's bleeding too, and then she gets the blood on her, and then that infects her, which is so idiotic and stupid. Even if you're going for a new version of She-Hulk, that's just dumb. You could have done a thing where she gives him a transfusion, and then some of the blood backs up in the what's the name, the tube, and then she gets some of the blood in her or something. Maybe she's trying to give him an injection of she doesn't know he's the Hulk. She's trying to give him an injection of a medicine, and in the process, I don't know, she has to inject herself with the same medicine and get some of his blood in her. Something like that. I mean, if you're gonna change it, at least try to make it realistic. Maybe she gives him a kidney, or he gives her a kidney, or something. I don't know. JC, the idea of him turning himself into a pickle is funny, but when the episode ends with 10 therapy session where the female therapist talks down to Rick, yeah, that is. I kind of like that episode because Susan Sarandon is so deadpan in it, but I don't like the ending of that episode because it makes everybody feel so mean and disconnected from one another. So I just skipped the origin. Who cares? Well, yeah, but it's kind of important to the comic books. And this is how It drives me nuts. Catheter. Yeah, it's a lot of commentators want the whole period question answered. It's bad as the second age. Whoa. Second age. I don't know if I should say that word on YouTube. And Rings of Power. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I didn't see Rings of Power. But for She-Hulk, it's just so frustrating to see them not build a story. They're just so set on like, well, we got to do this so we can have this scene, right? So she gets infected, Hulks out, and then like doesn't remember, like goes crazy, kind of like a werewolf. And so Bruce, who was unconscious, loses her. She wakes up in the woods and then ends up in a bar somewhere, and some girls give her a makeover, which I guess is supposed to be funny and helpful. Which doesn't make any sense because she looks like she's been attacked and they don't call the police. Like, why would you call the police? If you find a woman who looks like she's been attacked and she doesn't remember where she is, why wouldn't you immediately call the police? Then she wanders out of the bar alone. Like, the women don't accompany her after giving her a makeover. It doesn't make any sense. And then these guys come up to her and they're supposed to be accosting her, but they don't really accost her. Like, they kind of say, hey, how are you doing? Or something like that. And they're kind of hitting on her, but it's so mild. Like, you would have thought in such a cartoony world where men are so cartoonily evil that at least in that scene they would go, hey, baby, hey, what are you walking away from? Get over here. Like, they would have amped it up so it looked something mildly threatening. And then she hulks out and scares them. JC, I've seen clips from the second episode. It feels like generic sitcom. And that's kind of what it is. They formatted it like a sitcom. So, and then you get into this ridiculous thing where she's better at everything than Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is. Which doesn't surprise me because Mark Ruffalo is really starting to irritate me. So, Hulk is the strongest. Hulk is the strongest. Hulk is the strongest, ladies. You're not going to beat him. Hulk is the strongest. That's all I'll say. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb they decided to make this a woman's show. It's not a woman's show. This should have, if any show about women should have been written by guys, it should have been She-Hulk. Because that's exactly what it's been for, 30 years. It's been guys writing let's get her to Hulk out here, and then like her clothes rip and she's hot. Yeah, that's what the character is. That's what it's always been. It's like women trying to redo Charlie's Angels. What was Charlie's Angels? It was girls in bikinis solving mysteries. That's what it was. Hot chicks solving mysteries. Hey, here's an idea. Instead of a guy with a mustache solving the mystery, and hear me out, we get hot girls with a bikini. I like girls in bikinis. Yeah, but can they solve mysteries? Who cares? They're in bikinis. All right, let's greenlight this sucker. That's what Charlie's Angels was. So, like, it would have been great if She-Hulk was made in the 80s. It would have been awesome. Because they would have gotten, like, Heather Locklear as the She-Hulk, and the first shot of her hulking out would always be her boobs going ripping out of the clothes. Instead, we get this, I don't know, it just sounds like women complaining. That's what the show sounds like. Women complaining. There should have been a guy in that writer's room saying, no one, everyone will hate this. Everyone will hate this. Who is it for? Who is the damn show for? See, you got me talking about She-Hulk. Who is the damn show for? Is it for women? Women don't read comics. Okay, so you're going to attract women who don't normally read comics. Okay, women who don't normally read comics. Would you like to watch this show? Oh, what is it about? Well, it's a comic book character. No. Arden, karate, TNA, and a disembodied posh accent. Charlie's Angels. Exactly. In the 80s, it would have been Brigitte Nielsen. Come on, brother. She would have been the Hulk. She would have been the She-Hulk. And then Heather Locklear, but her boobs are not as big. I don't think Brigitte Nielsen would have, they would have had to give her bigger boobs. All right, Brigitte Nielsen with bigger boobs. Okay. I'll grant you. Just as the She-Hulk. But Heather Locklear as Jen Walters. And they go back and forth. And she'd be blonde. They would totally make her blonde. But they would give her glasses because that is the indication of a smart person in Hollywood. Well, we need to make her look 10% smarter. Oh, put glasses on her. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Because everyone with glasses is smart because they read too much and they have bad eyes. That's the thinking. So, yeah, there's no audience for this show. None. You have to have Disney Plus to watch it. Ardent, bigger is always better, yes. You have to have a Disney Plus to watch it, so you're only talking Disney Plus subscribers. That's numero uno. So out of them, who's watching comic book stuff? And it's not going to be men, because they've done everything they can to chase away men from this show. Everything. That's why men are complaining about it. That's why all the YouTube shows, mostly hosted by guys, about comics, they hate this show. They absolutely hate it. So, they're watching it because, I don't know, they still think giving money to Disney somehow, I get it. You feel you need to watch it to say you hate it. I don't. I've seen the clips. It looks terrible. F that show. I'm not watching it. I'm not giving Disney Plus a dime. Not giving them a dime. If I get to see it, it'll be for free. I'm not going to pirate it because that's illegal, and I don't do things that are illegal. But if somebody has Disney Plus, I'd watch it over their house. But I'd also say to them, you should get rid of this stupid Disney Plus. So, all right. So you got the people who watch Disney Plus. You've basically eliminated men. That's 50% of your audience. Who buys Disney Plus? Well, most people buy it for their kids because they still associated Disney with kids. Disney has screwed the pooch on child programming, so you've lost a lot of Trump supporters, I'll say. They hate Disney now, so you lost them. So you're left with hipsters who are watching Disney Plus, girls. All right, so let's look at girls. It's not a little girl show. She's on Tinder having sex with dudes. Is that something you want your little girl to watch? I don't think so. So, teenagers? Excuse me. What do teenage girls like? I'll tell you what they don't like. Anything that doesn't have to do with their hair, their shoes, their boyfriends, their friends. Are they going to watch TV? Yeah, if all the girls are doing it. If all the guys are doing it. Arden, I have serious problem with people who watch shows. You're giving them support for the wrong impression that people actually want to see more of the crap, and then you're just hate watching. Please don't. Yeah, don't. The best thing you could do is not watch. Don't give these people your money. Don't give money to people who hate you. So now we've eliminated men, little girls, teenage girls. Who do we got left? Okay, women in their 20s to 30s, which is kind of the appeal of the show, who are dating on Tinder, who don't read comics, who don't care about She-Hulk, who are caught up in the MCU, kinda, sorta, not really, because that's going away. Because the MCU being cool and putting I'm into blah 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 and Marvel on your dating profile, which by the way women do, and I laugh at it every single time, is going away. It's not going to be cool anymore. Then what? And I think it's not cool now. I think anybody who would look, back in the day, if a girl said, oh, I'm really into Marvel Comics, I would have been like, I want to date this girl. Now I say, oh, I'm really into Marvel? No, thank you. No, thank you. Not interested in going to see the gay Thor movie with you. It's just, there's no audience here. There's no audience. in my view. Divorced wine moms, yeah, who think they're watching something cool, who think they're sticking it to men because they hate men too, I guess. We're sisters doing it on their own, ruining a comic book character. That's what I think it is. So, but it just drives me crazy that this woman probably has at least some comedic sensibilities and has brought virtually none of it to the show. You know, Titania showing up to smash up the courtroom at the end of the episode just looks weak. Just looks forced and weak and stupid. Bleach Demon into Marvel as the same as strong independent women. Yeah, that's all it is. It's another virtue signal. Look at me. I'm into the thing. I support the Ukraine. I support this or that. Arden did actually did get lucky. One of those dating sites. The girl I contacted, went on to several dates with, was a legitimate Marvel fan. Few and far between. Godspeed. But, you know, it's infuriating to me that they're making TV shows with no audience and then promoting the hell out of them and then calling everybody a misogynist or a racist when it doesn't work. When it was so painfully obvious it wouldn't work. Resident Evil, obvious it wouldn't work. Obvious to anyone who's even remotely connected or knew the Resident Evil franchise. Like, if you had just pitched that to them, well, you think this would work? They would have went, no. This is stupid. What are you doing? Who cares about his daughters? Who is this actor? Why are you casting him? This isn't what he looks like. Why are you doing She-Hulk on Tinder? Have you read the comic? She's not like that. Why are you making her mad at her cousin Bruce? She was very supportive of him. Very supportive in the comic. In fact, she was one of Bruce's advocates all the time in the Marvel Universe. When everybody was after the Hulk, when they shot him into space to get rid of him. You know? It just... Okay, so I hope that answers your question about She-Hulk. And now I've eaten up the entire run of today's live stream on She-Hulk. You set me off, Ergo. You set me off. All right, let's see what else is going on. Let's check over at Deadline. Come on, Deadline. It's all the same stories. See, here's the invitation again. Matt Shakman, the director of WandaVision, is in talks to helm the Fantastic Four, and he won't be doing Star Trek 4, which I guess is good for Star Trek because, I don't know, the Star Trek franchise, they pretty much ruined that. Fantastic Four, I cannot see this being good. I mean, they've tried so many times. You talk about a show that should have went to Disney Plus. It should have been the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four is a TV show. It is a format of a TV show. Arden, the industry has stopped listening to actual fans. They never really listened to us. They never really did. I mean, I was pitching stuff back in the 80s and 90s, and they would say comic books. Nobody reads comics, kid. Nobody reads comics. Nobody cares about that. Yeah, but they got hundreds of thousands of fans. They would just laugh and go, no, we want millions of fans. If it's not in the millions, it's not on our radar. That's what they would tell you. The only difference now is they own the comics. So now, why wouldn't they turn it into TV shows? Because they own it. They don't have to spend any more money. It saves them money. And they believe they can make anything sell. And to some extent, that's true. I mean, Disney is really good at selling things. They put the Star Wars characters on packages of bananas. I couldn't believe it either. I was just in the produce store and I'm like, why are there Star Wars bananas? Who thought that was a good idea? Oh, we can't sell bananas. Who eats bananas that we need to reach? Well, what about Star Wars fans? You know what? That's a great idea. I think Star Wars fans need potassium. Let's get the Star Wars characters on our bananas. I guess. I guess that's how it went. Oh, here we go. This'll infuriate everybody. The Lord of the Rings star, Sir Lenny Henry, I didn't know he was a sir, applauds Amazon's move away from Tolkien's fair-skinned characters to diverse cast. Oh yeah, because that makes a story better. Changing the skin color of the characters. That always makes a story better. You know, I'm watching a TV show and I can't help thinking to myself, man, if this show would be 20% better if the people were darker skinned. I cannot tell you how many times I've said that. Fantastic Four would be a good TV show, agreed. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it's formatted. It's formatted like a soap opera. I don't think, I don't think it can ever really work at this point. People just don't kind of get the Fantastic Four. It was a creation of its time. That was during the space age. Everybody was into space stuff. Arden wants a Yoda brand banana. Let's see, anything else? Oh, Jamie Foxx did an imitation of Trump. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty spot on. Yeah, all the same news. Deadline and Variety, I think, are owned by the same company. Hollywood Reporter. Let's see, the Wrap. The Wrap, of course, can't help itself but dip into politics. Lauren Boebert trolled after claim student relief plan funds lesbian dance theory. I need to change my major now. Where's the lie? That's exactly what it's doing. So, and I don't know why the Wrap feels it needs to cover that. How is that impacting movies exactly in the movie industry? The Wrap. But they feel the need. I think it's Trump derangement syndrome. IndieWire. Oh, nothing new here. The company that financed Joker is getting out of the blockbuster business. Well, I mean, this has been, I said this yesterday, this has been a theme in this column, and then I think Bleeding Fool had it, where it's like the economy is going to force Hollywood to do smaller movies, to do more with less, which I think could only help it, because it would force them to concentrate more on the screenplay, which has been the problem with movies for so long. So effing long. The screenplays are just awful, but good luck with that. Nothing new on Bounding into Comics. Lost comic strip Buck Rogers 2429. Well, that's old. That is old. Oh, here's the new Red Sonja. Yeah, she looks like Red Sonja. I mean, is she a natural redhead? Is that red? Can't really tell. Women change their hair color so often. Who the hell could tell if that's natural or not? But I could totally see her being Red Sonja. Yeah. She's a little young, but I mean, I think you want somebody young for the role. Somebody young in shape. She looks pretty hot. Pretty cute. I mean, you can't make Red Sonja. That can't be a Whammon movie. It just can't be. I mean, the whole character is boobs. Chainmail bikini. I mean, that's they might as well call the damn movie Chainmail Bikini, because that's what it is. I hope it's the least woke thing they ever made. I hope it's just shamelessly boobs all through the movie. JC, she's pretty, maybe a bit skinny for Red Sonja. Yeah, yeah, you need to get like a Bridget Nielsen type with a huge rack. Um, I don't know who you could get. There's some model that's in a meme who's super tall and a redhead, and it's a picture of her lifting up a like a 5'1" girl against a wall. I don't know if you've seen it. It may be from a porn. I'm not sure. But yeah, someone like that. Someone who's just huge and beautiful. Arden, this is auburn. My actual hair color, it's ginger enough to count. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't really tell from the picture, but I think they'll red it. It'd be easy to make it redder. JEC, I don't think anyone cares about Red Sonja. You need like January Jones in her prime and super fit. Yeah. Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, nobody really knows Red Sonja unless they somehow tie it into Conan or whatever. Because that was a Conan thing, right? Red Sonja was part of the Conan universe, I think. Part Ardent. LOL, yes, it's porn, but it's dead on. Yeah, but I think the reason people would go see this movie is because it would be a super hot giant woman in it. Wielding a sword, and it would be completely unrealistic. See, this is like the opportunity, ladies, for you to have a character who just beats all the men, and the guys will watch it because they don't care. Right? We don't care. Like, you complained the last 2 movies we saw that the women keep beating up the men, but for some reason you love Red Sonja. Yeah, she's hot. That's why. So, and I think that's just about it. Oh wait, we got Cosmic Book News. This is a pretty good site. Power Rangers announces Cosmic Fury for 30th season. If you're still watching the Power Rangers. Godzilla vs. Kong 2 synopsis teases team up against mystery threat. Okay. I'm glad Godzilla vs. Kong did well, but I just don't. I can't get that into it. They're kind of all the same. Woke Marvel, Star Wars, huge Disney bust confirms merchandise sales. Do you mean bust like in statue or bust as in, oh, it's failing? Okay. Kevin Feige's woke Marvel approach is not only failing at the box office and on Disney Plus, but with the merchandise as well. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all because, again, who is this appeal to? Bleach Demon, Death by Snoo, the movie. I am okay with that. Yes, that's exactly what it is. JEC, they make a new Power Ranger show every 2 years and a new crop of 6-year-olds. Oh, okay, they're still making it, I guess. But like they're not continuing it, are they? It's just like kind of like Dragon Ball Z. They just keep resetting it. Yeah, there's a simple explanation why the toys aren't selling. It's because the shows aren't really aimed at children. I can't see children watching SheHulk. I can't see a mother going, oh, let's watch SheHulk, honey. And then they watch it and she going, this is a little too old for you. That's what I would say. Because I wouldn't want my little girl watching a TV show about a slutty Jennifer Walters banging dudes and being more confident because she's got superpowers. It's unseemly for little girls. Like, I do stuff in the Pineys that I would say is not for little kids. Little kids. Like, if your kid is like 12, they could probably read it and they're fine, depending on the kid. But, when you talk about adult themes, it's like 6-year-olds, they shouldn't be reading that. Bleach Demon. I like the older Godzilla because it was tongue-in-cheek and goofy, but the new stuff is just too on-the-nose real life for me. Yeah, I guess that's what it is for me, too. It's like too serious. It's like have some fun with it. JC, every Power Ranger show is different. New set of Rangers with a different gimmick. Oh. Kind of like late Transformers then, maybe? So when you're aiming your show at women who don't read comics, by the way, don't buy action figures, and then you go, why is nobody buying the action figures? It's because you're aiming your show at the wrong audience. Guys buy action figures, but who the hell wants to buy an action figure of that? To be reminded, oh yeah, that's my She-Hulk action figure. What's she doing? What's that pose? Oh, that is lecturing her boyfriend pose. And if you push that button, she'll call you a misogynist. Like, who the hell wants that toy? And Captain Marvel, please. Don't get me started on Captain Marvel either. Nobody wants Captain Marvel. Not even Brie Larson, I think, wants Captain Marvel. I think she's getting phased out of the damn MCU at this point. Because Marvel's is going to be an ensemble cast where I guess Brie leads her communist crusade to overtake America, or has the a female Avengers. They're really trying for this female Avengers thing, and man, is it going to fail. Oh boy, is it going to fail. Because I'll say something which is controversial, but is kind of not controversial. There's a lot of women who hate women. Okay? So if you make this all an Avengers, girl Avengers, and it's not going to be girl Avengers in bikinis, and it's going to be lecturing men, men ain't going to go see it, and the women ain't going to see it. I don't know who's going to see a women Avengers. Captain Marvel, says Arden, is even more popular than Ms. Marvel. Is it? Is it? JC, one Power Rangers show is in space. Next Power Rangers show is time travelers. Next Power Rangers show is Zoids. Our cars are bugs or whatever. Power Rangers. Never got into it. Never liked it. Always thought, it's kind of like Ultraman or some Japanese import, kind of Americanized. The only thing I heard about Power Rangers was that the guy who was there in the very first early incarnation, I read an article saying that guy only got paid scale to do his voice dubs and his image, and they'd shoot the entire season in 2 days. He'd do everything in 2 days, but they were using his image and his voice on all the merchandise, and he didn't get anything for it. And they were making millions and millions of dollars, and I felt bad for him. But at least he didn't have to do a lot of work. I'll give you that. But it is kind of rough when these guys make so much damn money, something hits, and they don't cut in the actors that much. And then I think they got rid of them, which is sad. It's like the guy who created Blade, sued Marvel over it. The movies were big, and it's like, why couldn't you throw the guy $100,000, right? Why couldn't you throw the creator of Blade $100,000, make him happy? It's not that much in terms of a movie budget, even back then, even in the 90s. Blade was like, what, a $30 million movie? What's another $100,000 at that point? Throw the guy a bone, put him on the credits of the movie, make everybody happy, and then this way he goes out and he sings the praises of your movies. Oh, here's the creator of Blade. He loves it. He loves it. Of course he loves it. He's got $100,000. Why wouldn't you pay people? They're so greedy. That's what I hate about Hollywood. They're so greedy. They're so greedy. They will shower money on all the wrong people. JEC, I was at the right age for Power Rangers when it started. They take footage from Japanese giant robot shows and shoot around the original action footage with the American actors. Yeah, I know. I could tell at the time. It's funny. For me, it was Ultraman and Johnny Sacco flying robots, which basically the same kind of stuff. Which they wouldn't reshoot anything. They would just dub it poorly and shoot it, show it in the afternoons. And then my weakness for my childhood is the banana splits. I love the banana splits. That's why I was so infuriated when somebody got the IP and remade a horror movie with the banana splits as evil animatronic robots. I was so infuriated. That I think my video on that is still clocking in some hits. JC, I think you're talking about Zordon. He was like the face on the TV screen. Yes, that was his name. Not surprised they did that. Wasn't much to his character. Yeah, it just seemed to suck because back then they were making ridiculous bank on Power Rangers. Power Rangers were everywhere. That was like the toy, you know. Back when like every kid was having a party, it had to be Power Rangers theme. Oh, and the Power Rangers are coming to the party. They're gonna do some things. Oh, all right. And on that note, I think I'm gonna wrap things up here. Let's see. Is there anything else? No, we already went over the numbers. So I'm going to do more videos today. Probably not going to do a Hollywoke hot take, obviously. It's really not a lot of news coming down. Next up for me is a signing at Thunder Road Books. I believe that's in Spring Lake, New Jersey. That's at 11 a.m. And that's next Saturday. And I just added another signing in October, which I got to add to my wall calendar. So I'll be adding more signings for the books. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Arden says, have a good day. Have a good one, Tony. Have a good day to you, Arden. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Next week, looks like my Sunday is free so far. So we should be tuned in for a 2 p.m. live stream next week. Looks like we're good for it. And what else, Joan? Got anything to add? You really spend too much time talking, Joan. Too much time. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Put your tongue back in. She does this thing now. I don't know if you can see it, where she's got her tongue out all the time now. Anyhow, Bleach, Demon, cheers, be fun. All right, good night, everybody. Gonna end the stream now.